welcome back to the Everyday Wholeness Show with Janet Uribe and myself, the Grim Reaper, Karen Stultz. And I say that, I know if you're listening to the podcast, you don't see me, but I am dressed as the Grim Reaper. And Janet is here, so beautiful, so amazing. And basically, we're going to be talking about asking with authority. And no matter what end of the spectrum you may be on, we can always ask with authority, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's actually a lot of teachers and guides, and it's even written in the stars when I talk to astrologers and such, and they'll tell you the age of the guru is over. You are the guru. You are whole.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. I guess like the part that kind of gets in the way for a lot of us is when we perceive ourselves to not be whole. When we perceive that someone has an ability or a gift or an identity or something that we don't have. When we believe that we can't get our own answers, then guess what we get? A reality where we can't get our own answers. So what was fascinating is right when you said, okay, what are we talking about? And they kept showing me things like nature and animals and basically things in this physical reality that we can use, call on, and tell them to show us the answer in the form that we want it. And I'll give you an example. I have a very good friend. She was the director of one of my companies, love her so much. And one day she was over here and she says, I always ask them to give me the sign in the form of a purple car. And I said, who the hell has a purple car? Like, where is that thing hanging out randomly? She's like, no, let me show you. So she pulls out her phone and randomly, miscellaneously, she just takes picture after picture after picture after picture of purple cars. And this is no average purple, friends. This isn't an elegant color. This is like borderline fuchsia and other, it's a very specific, distinct purple.
I love it.
She will communicate with the universe. If my answer is a yes about this scenario or about this, show me a purple car. And before she knows it, 2 cars will move out the way and a purple car is like right before her. And I started giggling when she told me this. And I thought, you know what? She's right. And this was probably before I became better as a channel. And I went on a road trip and I started placing orders with the universe and just said, if I need to do this when I get home to start my new platform, show me this. If I need to do this thing, show me a left blinker. If I need to do this, and not even kidding, a car would move out the way and the car in front of it would have a left blinker on a 1,000-mile stretch of highway. So what's hilarious about it is I started realizing that we're actually able to get more answers through the body, through placing orders, through asking for animals to come in and visit with us, through our own pets, through our own family, through a random ad on the television or computer, through a sensation in the body, through a food or a flavor, through a smell. I do have one guide who periodically drops smelly things.
Me too. Me too. It's like, wait a minute.
It's not funny. Yeah. And then even sometimes the TV miscellaneously turning on when I have a aha moment. So the thing is, it's fascinating because when you're connected and you believe, when you believe you're connected, when you believe there are no degrees of separation, you believe in the wholeness of yourself being part of all that there is in the universe, then these types of answers come in very easily. But when you believe in fragmentation solely, I'm just so fragmented and messed up, and you believe, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
part of being whole as well, because that's the human part of us.
Absolutely. Or when you're in they get answers. I don't. She's a psychic, or that one's a medium. That one does cards. This one's a healer. This one's a coach. And you don't believe that you too are a part of this in your wholeness, then you'll get that reality.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really cool is that right as we were getting into this topic, they like shook my left window in a way that I've never seen it before. It almost like warped, but there's no wind. But that is my perception of what I'm seeing in my reality of where I am today.
Yeah. And somebody sitting right next to you might not have seen that, but you saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's kind of like what we talked about last week with curiosity, looking at the curiosity of last week,
Yeah.
and being able to say, all right, I like evidence, Janet. I require evidence. Clear, concise, scientific, in your face, no question about it, evidence. And if our friends are not really feeling that they can do it because they're not psychic or a coach or a healer or whatever, play with it.
Oh, absolutely. Play with it. I think you will be shocked.
Oh, I know I was. I still am. I still say, whoa, that is so cool. It
Yeah,
worked.
me too. I
It
still think
works.
it's a miracle every time.
Yeah,
Every time I still think of it as a miracle. And
it is. And there's no end to the miracles that you can have.
yeah, it is limitless. You're so right. You're so right. I will tell you this. This is really funny. My partner moved in earlier this year, and when he did, he came with his cat. And at first, I've never been a cat person. I've mostly been a dog person, and I like the codependent natures because I have my own traumas that come with a little puppy. And this thing is very different. And she's a diva and she has her own agendas and her own itineraries, and she trains us apparently. But I noticed like the first few nights that she was here, when I would see something, both of our heads would go in the same direction at the same time. And then my kids started noticing. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I'm not the only one that sees what's happening in this room. It's just the coolest. So I don't know if any of you people, friends with cats out there have that experience, but it's been really neat for me to not feel alone in it for sure. But yeah, it's neat. And then, since then, I also have thousands of recordings. And I mean, thousands of recordings of the energies and the orbs and the beings and whatnot in my environment, just on my phone. Right when she starts looking, I'll start looking and I'll hit record, and there they are.
And that is so cool. When you ask with authority, you get the answers clearly.
Yeah.
It's when and I am guilty of this, no question about it. I still am a little wishy-washy in my questions. Like, what do you want me to know? Which is a good question. However, if you want a real answer, make sure that you ask the question, as Janet was pointing out, saying, if I am supposed to do it on this platform, show me the left blinker in the next car. If I am supposed to do it on another platform, show me the right blinker on the other car. Just do it. This is how I will understand. Show me the evidence.
Yeah. And it's funny. I had a whole 8-hour trip like that.
That is so cool.
I cried the whole time because I couldn't believe how my answers were coming in. It was neat. It was super neat. And don't get me wrong, as human, sometimes I believe I don't have the answers too. Probably more often than not. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. I don't know what the right move would be. I don't know what's in highest wisdom. And here's what I want to say. You just heard me say, I don't know. That's me bringing more of the brain into it. Because even so, when I am watching energies or hearing things or feeling information or whatever it is, most of my friends who know that I'm intuitive know that I literally almost lick my finger and put it to the wind. I can't even always explain how I know. Some people are very clear on hearing or seeing, but the second I start to question it, gone.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so clear. And that's where I recognize, and I know our friends Janet has laughed at me sometimes because I'll say, gee, I'm not really connected. That my guides are not around. My guidance is not here. And Janet sits there and laughs hysterically because they're always here. It's just that I decided that I would be confused, foggy brained, muddled, and I don't know how. And as soon as that occurs, yeah, they're going to back off and say, okay, we'll let you go. When you are ready to ask with clarity and authority, we will be here for you. But until that time, no, you're not going to feel us. You're not going to see us. You're not going to hear us. You're not going to see any signs. And I remember that song. I don't know if you were even alive when that song came out, Janet, was signs everywhere, a sign. And signs just are always around us in nature, in people that just happen to show up. They're always around us if we're open to hear them, to see them, to feel them.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, if there is life in your body, you are connected. You are never unplugged until you're unplugged. And even then you're connected, but you're never not connected. So even taking that to a whole new level and just consider what you're thinking. What are you thinking in that connection? Because that's what you're creating.
That's right. That absolutely. I totally agree there. Our thoughts truly impact. And sometimes it's a fleeting thought. Like, oh, I could never do that. Oh, well, sure I could. So no, that first thought was right there. So they're going to make sure that you're not going to see it. You're right. You're not going to be able to do it. But if you go in and practice that confidence that, yeah, I don't know if I can do this, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Because I am on my way to doing it, period. Yeah. As opposed to, I can't do it. Because that fleeting thought will override the, oh, sure, I can.
Absolutely. And I will find myself in that scenario more often. I can't add another thing to my plate. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much shit we got going on today already? And somehow the second I transition out of that, we have another thing on our plate. And there's weird miracles around time bending happening.
Yeah.
It is possible, but you just have to kind of surrender the fact that the idea, the belief that you're the one always driving the vehicle by yourself and responsible for every stop and pickup and organization and planning and appointment and everything else. It's kind of wild. I think I was telling you, Karen, not too long ago, I teach about 76 to 80 kids a week. And if I had to be responsible for their calendar alone, oh my God, with the amount of changes and cancellations, and this one's sick and that one has practice and this one now has to move their schedule, and it's every day. And I don't know how this works, but I just trust that I don't have to do it alone, because that's a lot. And the universe will have one cancellation and fill it in with another one. And then all of their mother's schedules suddenly accommodate for what they wanted and desired. And I just didn't have to make myself responsible for it.
And it always fulfills you as well.
Yeah.
That allowed you to be able to rest and recoup.
Oh, yeah.
When
on those days that I was sick, it did.
Yeah.
Cancellation.
Yeah.
I didn't have to cancel anyone.
And how cool is that? And it's happened to me more than once of, you know what? I just don't feel like talking to this person today.
Yeah. And it'll cancel itself naturally, right? Like that person. Yep.
Yep. And of course, we both are responsible people, and we do show up. And when we show up, we give our all when we show up.
Yeah.
And at least all that we can give at that moment in time.
That's whole too, friend. I know you guys have seen me on here not feeling so well before, and sometimes real hyper and swearing like a sailor. I'm moody
Well,
and human.
and females in particular are sometimes more moody than others. And it's an interesting concept, and it's not just for the young and vibrant and active and working people. It is for the middle-aged, older people. We are all human. We are all whole, just the way we are. And we can be moody, and we can be beautiful, and we can be optimistic, and we can be sad, and we can be angry, and we can be frustrated and not know where things are going or why. But that's okay too, because we are whole. And if you really want to know the answer, ask. Ask with authority. Ask, and it will show up. The answer will show up.
Perfect.
So until next time, guys, you just have the most awesome whole every single day. Be whole. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.